Speaking of governments and control, um, Google v Australia. I don't know if you guys have read into this.
I don't know much about it, but I'm willing to learn in this segment along with the viewers.
Inan, would you like to take over on this part, or would you like me to take
Thank
over?
you very much.
Okay, go for gold.
I'm sure a majority of people have heard pretty much Google threatened the Australian government.
To be fair,
AKA
I'm going to jump in on there for
Scott
a quick sec. You'd be surprised how many people actually don't know, because this is if you notice on Google, when you go on Google's homepage, search button, everything is all normal. On the very small writing, it's there. It was once or twice in the media. They didn't make a big deal about it, and then it died away for a bit.
Yeah.
And now it's suddenly coming back. But if you go on mainstream media now, none of that whole exists where it's like Google v me. It's all about Biden and Kardashian and this social media and Australian Open and Djokovic. It's like they're not actually talking about.
So when did this actually happen?
This happened quite a while
today,
ago.
I'm sure Scott Morrison came out today and he was. Okay, so
it's been brought back in attention.
The backstory is the Australian government wants to bring in some kind of legislation to make Google pay media outlets money.
The media outlets are asking Google to pay.
Pretty much, because they're providing content. They're saying we're doing all this hard work, reporting on these issues and bringing these news articles to you, and you guys are making obviously the money out of it. So it's like we want our share, and Google's gone
get fucked.
Obviously, get fucked, and now Australian government, who's the guy that owns the media? Murdoch's gone. It's Morrison, I need you to step up, mate, and get going.
We didn't put you there for a reason.
And Google's come back and said, all right, if you guys are going to want to do this, we're going to get rid of Google from Australia. Which statistically, it's said to be that 95% of Google search or search engine use was used by Google, obviously.
In Australia,
They're the majority. The Prime Minister replied, whether it was today or yesterday, pretty much we don't even bother replying to threats. So it's pretty much a standoff at the moment. Whether Google's going to leave Australia or not, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think?
Me personally, and I know we discussed this a bit off air as well. We actually touched base on this a while ago, okay? But it was still, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't come to the point where it's like, okay, I'm going to start threatening to take away the biggest search engine, one of the biggest companies away from you. My opinion is, I think the tech companies are too powerful to even fuck around with at the moment. Because best example, let's look at the president that just left office, Donald Trump.
They did him dirty.
Yeah, within one day, you had Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp. I know they're all by.
Did we talk about this? Because I feel like they say he incited violence.
Correct. Hello?
I mean, it's a bit contradicting, considering this is the American people who invade anywhere that's got a bit of grease or oil on the floor and they're ready to attack.
It's different when you're inciting violence overseas.
It's a bit rich when their police force are shooting people and strangling people to the point of death, and they want to talk about inciting violence.
But then, even in that scenario, Trump never properly came out and condemned it, like to the point where, say, Barack Obama would or Bill Clinton would.
How can you blame him? It was his people. Like, of course, I'm losing my seat. I need to fight back and do something about it. I don't blame him.
That's another conspiracy that we will probably not get into today, the US election itself.
I don't want to get into that, but yeah.
But going back to what I was saying, which is, look what tech companies did all in one here. And I'm including Amazon in this because AWS, which is the Amazon Web Services, it's like it's pretty much the server for Amazon, where they even host other sites, social media accounts and stuff like that. They use AWS to keep their servers running. They came out and the only social media outlet that was left was Parler, that said, you know what, Trump, we're on your side.
Really?
They go, yeah, you can open an account. They're like hundreds of, I think they reached a cap where they couldn't actually create more accounts because of their servers and stuff like that. And then they were hosted on AWS, and AWS pulled their services off. They said, we're not going to host you if you're going to be part of this. So look, in one hit, look what happened. So Google and Facebook, okay, they control They control everything pretty much, okay?
Especially
Google,
media.
yeah, Google controls what you see. Google controls everything. Their algorithms, they can destroy governments.
Yeah,
in
well,
a
it was
heartbeat.
actually said they went through a trial. Google actually went through a
They
trial.
changed the one. I was just reading that.
Yeah, that's exactly the story I read, the ABC one. They actually trialed it, and it was like to the point where people actually could not find anything.
Yeah,
And it
relate
was
to
a
it.
1% change of the algorithm that buried news sites. Like,
that's the way Google works because
It's a bit scary, bro.
we all know this, okay? And this comes down to personal use of a search engine itself, yeah? When you go on Google, for example, okay, how many times do you actually go to the second page?
not many.
Not many. There
Because
is-
they're irrelevant
Infinite.
almost.
the-
They're
the exact-
irrelevant.
and that's what Google does. If it's not on the first page, the next 2 million pages or whatever it is, they're
Still
irrelevant
gets
to
No,
you.
it,
But
was,
I wanna
no,
ask-
it depends on how bad you want your question to be answered.
Okay,
And
but-
if those first page doesn't think, actually, did you just ask how many times have I used the second page?
How about
No,
the third
Very
or the fourth?
rarely. Very
But like,
rarely.
yeah,
Very
it,
rarely.
it gets buried. But
But I have.
here's an interesting thing, right? To be actually listed, for example, if we opened up an Offside Talk website, right? We have to have like an agreement, some sort of payment to Google to actually come up in search engines?
No, that's a boost that people know how to control. So people like with SEO experience or people that know how to use Google's algorithm can boost you up in their rankings.
Okay.
That's a different that's
So
a different
any
element.
any website in the whole wide world, if we made one like through one of those third-party website makers like what is that, Wix and stuff, if you Googled like my name, would our website come up?
Your name?
Yeah.
No.
If on the website it contains my name as about us, Emin Küçük is the speaker on Small Talk, for example.
What Google will do, so if I searched up your name, for example, it will bring me every single person who has your name up first. If your name is so broad, such as say John Smith, for example, your website probably won't come up unless the traffic to your website is
High.
is a high
All right.
traffic website.
Bad example. What if I write Emin Küçük Small Talk? Would our website come up?
It will probably come to a point where it would match all 4 words, and you'd probably maybe appear on the first 2 pages.
So it will come up. So
Yeah.
you don't have to actually approach Google to be on Google searches.
You don't have to approach Google to be on Google, but when you're talking about high demand things, such as let's say we're going to hit this topic later on today anyway. So, but I'll give this the best example. You write in there Poirier versus McGregor.
Yeah.
Okay, the first website that's going to come up is what?
UFC.
UFC,
website.
because they know it's that. But then it's what's next. We know I personally believe that if
Probably
we
like
search this,
ESPN or
it will be
something
ESPN
like that.
because they have a deal with the UFC.
Yeah.
So what UFC will do is, okay, we're first, they're second. Okay, then it would be who's getting pushed up.
Yeah.
Okay, because we know there are hundreds and hundreds of sports outlets that are considered top tier as well. Who's going to be on that first page that's actually covering this? Are you going to see MMA Junkie, for example, which is a well-known MMA site? Do you know what I mean? Are you going to see them up there? Or are you going to see something from a YouTube perspective? Because that's when, like, there's a lot of little factors here that comes into play here, because not only do you see the UFC, Google has its own incentives as well. They need to drag people to YouTube. Okay, so you'll start seeing YouTube ads, Conor McGregor trailer or Conor McGregor interview, for example, and the guy's a massive name, so it will come up. And just based on that search alone, you've got Google AdSense, which is what I'm connecting to what Inam was talking about as well. You got the ads that's going to come up. So even though that you and I have searched that, for example, even before we get to say Daily Telegraph, Sydney Morning Herald, news.com.au, Google's already making money. Google has already collected data, which they're selling. They've already collected the money from the AdSense revenue because people are paying to do ads on there. Then you got and then by clicking on Daily Telegraph, now this again I don't know, but is Daily Telegraph paying to boost their own websites on Google?
Yeah,
I don't know this.
Bro,
So-
who's
That's
going
where
to
my
Daily
argument
Telegraph?
starts, is that like these news companies, they're getting free exposure from a service that they're not paying for. So as soon as they put up their article, bro, you put up a news article, like you said, whether they're boosting or whatever, you're going to get 9 News up there. You're going to get Daily Telegraph. You're going to get, Sydney Morning Herald, whatever it is, right? And then they're already providing you that service to be on that list. Straight away, people are able to like get directed to your website. Everyone who comes into your website are exposed to ads. You're making your money through ads, blah, blah. And then you want to make money from a free service that's getting you exposure. If I had to take a side on this, I'm completely on Google's side. I don't think you have a right to approach them and be like, man, you got to be paying us to, put our search engines onto our websites on your search engine.
They're
Doesn't
both
make sense.
assholes. Both parties are assholes.
Assholes.
But I'm not on Google's side because Google is big as it is. They don't need to be like they're pretty much showing the middle finger to the government, going, all right, fuck. Like I don't think they will leave Australia. No way. Like I think the country itself is it's too big as a market.
You reckon 25.5 million people?
No, but regardless, the amount of technology that's used in Australia, we're not like this third world country that still uses industrial shit to make shit. Like we're very technologically advanced. If you think about it, in terms of IT and whatnot.
My NBN is shit.
But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No.
So, like, I think it's just too much power. I don't agree with these media outlets. Like, find out. Like, everything changes. There's all sorts of innovation that come into place. You guys have to make up, or you guys are gonna die. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Start changing.
Do you know what it's like? It's like, let's give an example. All right, Conor McGregor, because since we're going with him, he drives a BMW, right? And he goes to BMW. Man, you need to pay me because I'm driving your BMW. Don't fucking drive it then. Like,
BMW would approach McGregor.
And they would have said, of course.
No,
And
but
what
like-
color
But I
would
know
you
what
like?
he's trying to say.
no,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
yeah.
if you're using it, it's like, dude, then don't use it.
The guy's
Like,
the ultimate marketing tool,
If you're putting money into Google to be up at the top of the list and you're expecting money and they're not giving it to you, bro, go use Bing. Go use something else. But you know
AskJeeves.com.
you know who's ultimately gonna lose? It's gonna be the news company because Google's the biggest platform on the earth.
Yeah.
Bro, like, to be honest,
It's your loss.
They
the
own.
media is going to become what's that word? They're gonna go soon, anyways, because everyone that's got a phone now is media. If you think about it, I don't need no more guys to explain what's happening. I just need a guy to record the guy getting bashed at the shops, and that's all I need to know. I mean, I don't need the guy to report, oh, this guy stole his milk, and so this guy's gonna grab him and bash him.
Exactly.
You know
Look,
what I mean?
I don't watch television. I don't watch the news. I don't have time to sit down at 6 o'clock and watch some Channel 9 news, right? I don't buy the newspaper. That's outdated. So the media is really struggling to get exposure out here, right? It's
Yeah.
like, and
Good.
really the
Fuck 'em.
only exposure I have to media, whether it's 9 News or whatever it is me finding out through word of mouth or something on
Auburn
Facebook.
2144.
It's like, this happened. Me Googling it and then being like, okay, I'll check out 9 News and see what they have to say.
No.
If there was no Google, dude, no one's going on your website anyway. Do you ever, like, I don't personally write
hating
in
on Google right
9news.com and say, oh, what's happening on the news on Channel 9 News today? Dude, I don't care.
But that's you though. You got to keep
Because-
that in mind. Like for me, example.
But the majority of us too, cuz, like, he's right.
Bro,
Everyone
you're
uses
different.
Google.
You are very...
Tell me, find me one guy that uses Bing.
No, but like, I'm not saying no one uses Bing.
You know,
Only
put it
when
in the
becomes-
comments below if you use Bing.
If anyone uses Bing, please.
But only because it becomes a freaking virus toolbar on your freaking on your Google Chrome. But Fatih is an exception because Fatih actually enjoys going on the news in the morning and reading everything up. Bro, I don't care unless something big has happened, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And if
that's
we're
true.
talking about a world where Facebook, Instagram, Auburn2144 on Snapchat is stealing all the
They buy
attention
memes
from
as well.
media outlets, right? You're in
Nah,
a
they're
world
using
where
their material.
you're not selling newspaper anymore. Barely anyone is like watching television because everyone's on Netflix these days. Your only exposure is the internet. So why would you go up against a huge giant like Google who's bringing in most of your viewership, most of your ad revenue, and then be like, we want you guys to pay us?
Yeah, because their argument, okay, is this, and I'll get your views on this now as well. Google is making money off us without doing anything.
No,
That's-
pretty
that's
much
what- that's
they're
what their
putting in the
argument
hard
is.
work to report on these issues and media, or well, obviously to find out whatever these issues are. Like obviously journalism.
What do you mean?
Well, that's the whole point. I mean, there's media outlets need people. They employ people to find out stuff.
No. That's not what their argument. The argument is, so
We got bills.
we got bills to pay, bitch. Rent. Nah, it's by the time. Okay, I'll use Emin as an example. Okay, by the time Emin gets to Daily Telegraph, Google has already made money.
Yeah.
Daily Telegraph I know that I don't use that Telegraph because you got to pay for it now, and you're a bunch of piece of shit.
Exactly.
To be honest.
The
But-
media is shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah.
But
Sorry.
what I'm trying to get to is by the time said person gets to said media source, their argument is Google has already made the money, whether the media source whether the user has clicked on the media source or not.
Yeah, I understand that.
But for them to even get to that, okay, you can take, no offense, but you can take away all the Australian news media outlets. People will still find their news one way or another.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm arguing is. All right, let's flip the coin here. All right, let's look on the other side. And Google says to them, all right, we're gonna pay you because we're making money off you, but 1 cent for everyone who's got into your website through a Google search, we're gonna charge you for it, dude. The media is losing.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Like
See-
the media is gaining more from Google than what. Like the Google's obviously gaining a lot from the media, but without Google, all these news outlets are nothing, in my opinion.
I agree with you. And another factor into this conversation also was Facebook. So Facebook, and see, the way that it's, again, this is such a deep topic because the way that it's characterized? Fuck, I'm having an English breakdown.
What is English?
What is English? Was YouTube. Okay, YouTube was a massive example here. Okay, which was on the sense of, is YouTube a news organization? Because Google does not, I believe if I read this correctly, Google does not classify YouTube as a news.
I don't think it is
media.
because YouTube doesn't make explicit videos themselves
it's a
to inform
platform.
people.
It's
It's
a
what
platform.
people
It's
post
just a
on there.
That's
platform.
right. So, which is, I think is where the also the argument is, which is, and again, this falls down to. It's such a stupid topic in my personal opinion because you look at Facebook. Okay, you're uploading your content on your page that you created, and complaining Facebook is making ad revenue based on what you put up. So I don't know how to tackle that.
Yeah, exactly. And bro, and going off YouTube, when I do watch 9 News or 7 News or blah blah, it's a snippet that's been put on YouTube. So you're using that to make money off it anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really don't know because this is a really sensitive topic in a way because if Google pays Australia, for example, say Google folds for some odd reason they fold and they said, you know what, we're going to pay.
Wolves.
Who do you think is going to come crawling? Every other country on earth.
That's
Why
right.
am I paying then?
Yeah.
You got America, you got United Kingdom, you got all these first world countries that are going to come out and go, well, why the fuck am I paying you then if this country is doing this, not same thing? But I think...
And all of a sudden we're gonna have Bing phones.
It's just... I think Australia and their news outlets and their government, they're playing in a game that they're never going to
Dude,
win.
look, my view on the media outlets, bro, you go to Europe, right? Let's give Turkey for an example. They have like 100 stations,
Yeah.
right? The media in Australia is too controlling as it is. We have 4 stations, bro. What do we have? We have ABC, SBS, which are government-run stations anyway. You have 7, 9, and 10. You have 9, 1, 9, 2, 9, 3, which are all the same shit.
That includes Foxtel and Sky Sports and blah,
No.
blah, blah.
I'm talking free-to-air.
Oh, free to air.
Free-to-air television. In Europe, free-to-air, you have 100 channels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In Australia, the media is so... controlling that they have too much power. And in this, I feel like they're having a massive dummy spit because someone is shitting on them finally.
Well, to be honest, it's a change of guard. It
Yeah.
really is. Let's look at Kodak. Do you remember? We all remember what Kodak was,
They were massive,
They were
like
massive.
80s, 90s.
and they didn't keep up to date with their own technology. And what happened? Someone with a new technology came forth and killed them,
Yeah.
pretty much. And now I think they make something completely different now.
They just make film.
And now it's more like, okay, the newspaper's gone. Okay, people thought that would never go away. How are people else going to receive their news? Do you know what I mean? In this scenario, if Google goes, yeah, I can't see myself resulting to use Bing, I'll probably just use a VPN.